Okay, today we're going to talk about a bit of a review for solving equations. We're just going to go through and solve a bunch of them here, and we'll talk as we go. So let's start with this first one. So as I look at this thing, first thing that I would do is I would simplify or distribute. So I would distribute this. I get 2x minus 4. And here I would distribute, and I'd get x minus 2. And then you get to this point, then the question is, all right, well, how do I solve? Well, I'm going to move my variables to one side and my constants to the other. So I'm going to subtract x to the left. So we get x minus 4 equals negative 2. And then I'm going to add 4. X equals 2. And how could I tell whether or not that answer is correct? Well, I can simply plug that in, and if it makes both sides of the equation equal to each other, then I know I did it right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one here, this one's set up for a reason because this is kind of a common mistake. People will do this, 6 minus 2 and get 4. Okay, but remember order of operation says you have to multiply, so we have to distribute. So I'm going to get 6 minus 6x minus 2. And over here I'm going to simplify also, so I'm going to get minus x minus 2 minus 12. Let's clean up both sides, so I'm going to combine like terms here. So I'm going to get negative 6x plus 4. Over here I get negative x minus 14. And then again, I'm going to just start moving variables to one side, constants to the other. So I'm going to add 6x to the right. And then I'll add 14. And lastly, I will divide by 5. And let me just move over just a little bit here. So I get x equals. Now, 5 doesn't go into 18 evenly, but that's not a big deal. So I can just rewrite it as 3 and 3/5. Okay. And that's it to that one. Okay, this next one. This next one says 2/3 x minus 4 equals 5/9 x plus 2. Now, what I'm going to do is what I like to call a fraction buster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my denominators, and let me rewrite this. This is a little bit smaller. I'm going to look at my denominators of my fractions and come up with a common denominator. Well, the common denominator between 3 and 9 is 9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of this equal sign by that common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything over here by 9 and everything over here by 9. Now the whole point of that is because I want to get rid of my fractions. So if I were to distribute this in here, 9 times 2/3 is 6. And multiply it here, minus 36. Over here if I distribute, I get 5x plus 18. So I got rid of all my fractions. That tends to make people happy when they get rid of fractions. So then I would progress to moving variables. X minus 36 equals 18. Add 36. X equals 54. Okay, just like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Seems pretty straightforward, so let's do a little distributing. So we get 8 plus 6x equals 6x plus 2 minus 7. Clean that up. And now when I move my variables, you'll see something. So my variables actually cancel out on both sides, and I get 8 equals negative 5. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is that this has no solutions, because that's a false statement. Okay, so that means there's no number that you could plug into x on either side of the equation that would make both sides equal to each other. Now we also have an answer that's called identity or infinite solutions, and what that would look like is, again, my variables would cancel out, but instead of there being a false solution here, you'd get a true solution. So like you would say 12 equals 12 or 0 equals 0. And then you would either say identity or you could also say infinite solutions. Okay, last one. We'll finish up with this last one here. Okay. Let me rewrite this one again because this is a little small. Okay, so this one, I wouldn't change anything from what I've done in the past with fractions. I notice I have a fraction here and here. So what I'm going to do is multiply by the common denominator, which is 4. So I'll multiply this by 4 and this by 4. So on the left side, these 4's cancel, and I just get 8x minus 1. Over here, I get 8x minus 1. And you notice here that looks like they're identical. So if I were to subtract, and we're going to get exactly what I was just talking about. I get negative 1 equals negative 1. Well, that's true. That's always true. Okay, so in this case, we could either say the word identity, or you could say that there are infinite solutions to this problem. Okay, so that's just kind of a simple, quick little review on solving equations.